You might have a degree in finance once I'm done with you. Hey there guys, my name is Tyler and welcome back for another TyTalk. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about interest rates, how they're a scam, and how they're destroying the world. Interest rates are one reason why everything is so expensive and why virtually every industry they're involved in is having a crisis. As always, if you like my content and want to support my channel, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video, share the video, and leave your comments down below. Also, before I start, harsh language warning. This video is rated R, and it is also going to have a lot of math. So, before I explain my accusation, like usual, we need to start with definitions. Up first, what is interest? Interest is the money paid regularly at a particular rate for the use of money lent, or for delaying the repayment of debt. So in plain English, interest is an additional charge placed on money that you are borrowing. You're essentially paying extra to use someone else's money. This can come in basically two different ways: simple interest and compound interest. Simple interest is a method to calculate the amount of interest charged on a sum at a given rate and for a given period of time. This is fairly typical in car loans. For a simple example, let's say you want to buy a car and you need a loan to do it. The loan will be for $10,000. The interest rate is 5%, and you are going to pay this off over 5 years. Now, if you don't know anything about this, you might think, okay, $10,000 times that by 5%, that gets me an interest charge of $500. So I owe $10,500 over 60 months. My monthly payments will be $175. However, this is not how it works. And this is where my first issue is. When the lender says we're going to charge you 5% interest, they mean that they're going to charge you 5% a year on the remaining balance. This effectively comes out to being charged 0.42% a month. This makes your monthly payment $188.71, not $175. And over the course of the loan, you will end up paying $1,322.60 in interest, not $500. And as you can see, the interest has almost tripled. And instead of 5%, you're actually paying 13.2% in total interest. To me, that's deceptive. Sure, you can argue that people need to be smarter and know what they're getting into, but if you want that 13.2% as the lender, just make it that. Just say that it will be a flat 13.2% interest fee. Why do you need to make the math more complicated and then hide behind that lower number? Why is that part of your sales pitch? Hey man, interest rates are low. You're looking at only 5%. No, I'm not. I care about the total amount of money that I'm going to lose. Now, yes, 5% is mathematically correct, but why not go smaller? Hey bro, you want to know how low our interest rates are? With us, you only need to pay 0.0137% a day. That is nothing, bro. Well, that's manipulative, and that's a fucking understatement. It's technically correct, but it hides the real cost of $1,322.60 or 13.2% in interest. Here's a shot directly from Chase Bank's website. Here you have 3 different options for borrowing $10,000. The lowest monthly payment is $169.96 over 6 years, which comes to a total of $12,237.12. Hey, you're only paying 6.89%. No, I'm not. I'm paying 22.3% in total interest. Yes, I know. I hear you all. It's an APR or annual percentage rate, which is the total cost of borrowing money for a year, including the interest and any fees. I hear you. However, even this is misleading. Why? Oh, because it doesn't actually provide transparency. It gives you a false understanding of the total cost you'll be paying over the life of the loan, including interest and fees. When you tell me that I will owe you 6.89%, you're intentionally trying to put a lower cost in my mind, when in reality, I will owe you $2,237.12 or 22.37% over the life of the loan. That number gives me a clear understanding of the total cost that I will be paying over the life of the loan. People in general don't think about money in annualized rates and percentages, but think of it as in cash, dollars and cents. With that said, I have no issue with banks disclosing their monthly payments and total principal plus interest, as Chase has done here. These numbers, as I mentioned before, give people an accurate idea of how much money they will owe each month and how much in total they will pay. My problem is with presenting people with such a low interest rate as if that is the total interest. Another way you can look at lending is that you are buying money. Now, I needed money recently, so I needed a loan, so that way I could work on my truck, and jokingly, I called the bank the money store. Joke or not, that's pretty accurate. A loan is you buying someone else's money from them. So, with the previous example from Chase, every dollar that I borrow, I pay back $1.22. I am buying each dollar for $1.22. Just picture that. In order for you to get $1 from me, you need to give me $1.22. Because that's the same, right? This number is easier and more transparent than 6.89% APR. If you hate that as much as I do, wait until you hear about its disgusting bigger brother, compound interest. So compound interest, what is that? Compound interest is the interest on a loan or deposit calculated based on both the initial principal and the accumulated interest from previous periods. In plain English, this is interest charged to not only the original amount of money, the principal, but also to the interest that has been added. For a simple example, let's say you've invested $100 at 5% a year. At the end of the year, you will receive $5 in interest. This now gets added to the $100 you invested, making it $105. When the second year ends, you are not getting interest on $100, but on $105, giving you $5.25 in interest, increasing the total invested amount to $110.25, which means that this is the new total to receive that 5% on at the end of year 3. This is with a once-a-year compounding, but most compound interest rates are compounded monthly. So that means that you can have interest being added every single month instead of once a year. Now, that sounds benign enough, right? However, this can quickly turn into a nightmare when dealing with loans. Want to know why no one can buy a home right now? Sure, demand is higher than the supply. That plays a part, but let's take a look and see how much a loan or mortgage actually costs. According to Freddie Mac, or the Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corporation, the interest rates for a mortgage are 6.81%, and that is at the time of me writing this script. 6.81%. That's not too bad, right? Well, let's punch that into our little calculator and see what happens. All right, so we're thinking about buying a house, and we'll need a $200,000 loan. This is about half of the current median price for a home in the US, but moving on, that will be at 6.81% over the next 30 years. And that equals $1,305.18 a month, or what the fuck? Excuse my language, but you are out of your fucking mind. You're seriously going to tell me that if I borrow $200,000, that you're not only going to get that $200,000 back, but you're going to get $269,865.84 in interest. Oh yeah, that's 6.81% all right. But what is it really? I'm paying $2.35 for every dollar that I borrow. I am charged 134.5% in interest. I'm sorry again, but there is no fucking way that is the fair value of money. That is usury. That is absolutely the illegal action or practice of lending money at unreasonably high rates of interest. But let me guess, it's not actually usury because 6.81% is a legal rate to charge someone. Remember this dollar from before. This $1 now costs you $2.35. I'm really going to harp on this. If you want to buy this $1 from me, it will cost you $2.35. Let's take a look at student loans really quick since they also use compound interest. What are the current rates? 6.53%. Again, not bad, right? Well, UConn is a local state school here, and if you're not from around here, you're looking at getting charged upwards of $58,780 a year for your undergraduate degree. Well, it must be worth it, right? Your degree in puppetry is worth $58,780 a year, or $235,120 in total, right? Time to bring out that calculator again. All right, we've got $235,120 in loans that we need to take out, and that'll be at 6.53% over 10 years, and we've got, oh, fuck off. You will need $2,673.33 a month, or $32,079.96 a year to be able to pay off this loan. You will owe a total of $320,799.64, and you will pay a total of $85,000 in interest. Or again, it costs $1.37 for every dollar you're trying to buy, and you're paying about 36% in interest, all for a degree in puppetry. But let's say you do it. You get that degree, and now you owe $32,079.96 a year. The median income for people with a degree fresh out of college is $60,000 a year. I'm going to ignore taxes and just focus on raw numbers. If this is the case, that leaves you with only $28,000 for the year, or $2,300 a month. That's your new income after your debt is paid. You now effectively make $15 an hour, and that $15 an hour is now responsible for your rent, your cell phone, your car, any insurance that you might need, and then, of course, your food as well. Oh, also, that's not considering the taxes that are being taken out either. So now it's even less. Our current mortgage debt is $12.1 trillion. Our current student loan debt is $1.7 trillion. Our current credit card debt is $1.2 trillion. The government debt is $37 trillion. Those are all in crisis, and we have more systems on the way. Personal loans are showing increases in delinquencies. Corporate debt is rising. Everything that is touched by compound interest is coming to its breaking point. Yes, there are other things involved, and this is not the sole cause of the issue, but it is still a major issue. There are other issues like if you tell an 18-year-old you need to get a college education, if you tell him that you need a degree, oh, and don't worry, it's only 6.53%, so you can easily get a loan. If you say that, you are 100% part of the problem. The total cost needs to be disclosed. You cannot sell college to people at 6.53%. You absolutely need to tell them that their stupid degree in puppetry, which shouldn't even exist in the first place, will cost them almost $3,000 a month, and their job prospects are pretty fucking slim. If you tell them that, they won't go to college. But the powers that be don't want that. They want you in debt. They want you to be dependent on the system. They want you paying off this debt for the rest of your life, and they want you to struggle doing it. That's why they made it virtually impossible to discharge this debt through bankruptcy. In my opinion, compound interest has to go. It's not built on fairness. Consider this. You need X amount of money. It doesn't matter how much. With compound interest, the interest gets added to the amount that you borrow. Once it's added, it increases the borrowed amount, and then new interest is added to that new amount. Basically, in a perpetual state of increasing the amount that you owe by increasing the amount that you borrowed. If I borrow $10, that is the only thing that should get charged interest. That is the borrowed money. But you get charged on non-borrowed money all the time. This happens with credit cards. Oopsies, your payment's late. Here's a $75 fee. And that now counts as borrowed money. And you now owe interest on that too. No, I don't. If I use my credit card and charge $100 and forget to pay it, yes, penalize me for it. I understand that I owe you an additional $75 for not paying on time. However, you don't charge interest on that $75. I didn't borrow that. The amount that I borrow is the amount that I pay interest on. But you want me to pay interest on interest, which is not the borrowed money. Compound interest and the way that it's presented with its low interest rates is usury. It has to go. Some of you might be saying, but what about for investments? Yes. If I say it's out for debt, it's out for investments. Not only in the interest of fairness, but they aren't even equal. Your credit card is likely charging you around 20%, whereas a high yield savings account will only give you 4.5%. The debt rates are higher and they compound more often. It's a losing system and it's making everything worse. Like I said before, they want you in debt. They want you to be enslaved to them. And what do I want? I want you all to be free. Why is that? Because it leads to better outcomes. Hey there guys, thank you so much for watching that video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you haven't already, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you all in the next one. Thank you again so much for watching.